Today we look at the dessert dish, chocolate mousse. Actually, it's the other spelling of the word mousse, like something people put on their hair. Well, kind of, but we're looking for the food dish, mousse, chocolate mousse. Ah, yes. Beautiful, delicious chocolate mousse. But what is chocolate mousse? Maybe we should start with, what is chocolate? Well, chocolate is an emulsion. Emulsions come in two kinds: water in fat or fats in water, like milk. Chocolate, that is, dark chocolate, is cocoa solids, a tiny bit of water, in cocoa butter, the fat. Now that we have some idea what chocolate is, what is this thing called mousse? Mousse is a French word from the early Middle Ages, where it mainly means foam or froth. It was connected to chocolate in 1750 in a cookbook. It joined the English language in 1892 in another cookbook. Mousse, the animal, is an Algonquin word with no relation whatsoever to the French word. It just sounds the same. Thus, chocolate mousse really means chocolate foam. So, then what is a foam? Well, foam is a liquid that is entrained with a gas. Entraining is to draw in and transport a gas by the flow of a fluid. As the gas is drawn into the liquid, it is broken into tiny bubbles and distributed throughout the liquid. There are several ways to entrain a gas into a liquid: stirring, shaking, whisking, folding, pressure injection, and blending with another liquid that already has gas bubbles entrained inside it. Chocolate mousse can be made using any or several of these methods. However, as we'll find out, not all the methods are equal in their result. At this point, it would be a good idea to state what chocolate mousse is not. It is not chocolate pudding. Pudding is an emulsion of chocolate, sugars, and a starch thickener in milk. It is a fat and water emulsion, but without any significant foam. When served, chocolate pudding is much more soupy than chocolate mousse. It is not chocolate custard. Custard is an emulsion of chocolate, sugars, and an egg thickener in milk. It is also a fat and water emulsion, but still without any foam. Chocolate custard and chocolate pudding get somewhat stiffer by heating, whereas chocolate mousse gets very stiff by refrigeration. But do not freeze the mousse. Custard and pudding are nice, but mousse is usually better. Why? It is the bubbles. At least two things help the mousse. One is the bubbles make the volume bigger, fluffier, and lighter. And it feels like you're getting more in your mouth because more mouth area is touched. Custard and pudding tend to sort of dribble over your tongue and quickly down into your throat. Second is the bubbles are not pure air. With all that mixing, the bubbles contain aroma and flavor chemicals already released into the bubble atmosphere. As the bubbles pop in the upper parts of your mouth, the aromas get to your nose more quickly and intensely. Flavors trapped inside the custard and pudding hardly get to the nose before the bite is swallowed. Chocolate mousse uses physics and chemistry to air freight high-intensity chocolate flavor direct to your nose. Intoxication happens on the first bite. Chocolate mousse has the opportunity of being one of the most exquisite of foods available. Let us explore what properties will be needed to make it so. Typically, chocolate mousse is a dessert and will be placed before the eater after they have already been well stuffed with the main course. They will not be hungry, and so the dish has to look appealing before they'll even put it in their mouth. Apart from decorating and garnishing, the chocolate mousse itself needs to have some specific traits. It has to look cohesive. It cannot be leaking any fluids or oozing anything out of it. Just like the legendary sword Excalibur, a spoon should be able to enter the chocolate mousse effortlessly, but yet still stand up erect, waiting for its regal extraction. Chocolate mousse has a magical sound effect as the spoon makes the scoop. As the edge of the spoon slices through the foam, the bubbles it encounters collapse and make a collective, gentle crish sound that is distinct and memorable. As the scoop approaches the mouth, it cannot be drooping, dribbling, or wiggling. It has to be ready to be easily placed in the mouth even if the spoon is overloaded, as it often will be. If you've been successful in getting the eater to place the scoop in their mouth, you still need to ensure excellent mouthfeel to keep them eating scoop after scoop. In your mouth, a good chocolate mousse should slip effortlessly off the spoon, and you hardly feel any weight on your tongue. It feels like it is gliding over your tongue, not sliding on it. You can feel it is in your mouth. It is light and airy, and you need no energy to chew it. It is fluid, but not wet, as it coats your mouth with a soothing moisture. It is smooth, without any lumps or bumps, yet you feel the fine texture and hear the gentle crish of the foam. This may all sound impossible and maybe even magical to achieve, but it is real. I know, because I have tasted it. More than once, and from more than one chef. There are many ways to make chocolate mousse. Some are better than others. Almost all chocolate mousse recipes are made using 5 basic steps. First, you melt the chocolate. Without the chocolate being in liquid form, you cannot entrain air. Second, you invert the emulsion from water and fat to fat and water. This allows the chocolate to stay liquid at room temperature, and also changes the chemistry so that the bubbles do not collapse quickly. Third, you entrain the air. Fourth, you dispense the liquid into the serving container. Fifth, you refrigerate to stiffen the liquid foam into a solid foam. Sounds pretty simple. Really, how hard can this be? Well, As always, the devil is in the details. Let's get more specific on the methods and ingredients. One can melt the chocolate with either a double boiler or a microwave. But it turns out the microwave is more controllable, especially if heating is done in short bursts. One can invert the emulsion with just water, but the results are very questionable and short-lived. Using sugar, egg yolks, or even avocado changes the texture for the better and adds strength to the bubble walls. It is possible to use nitrous oxide chargers or even paint shakers to entrain air into the emulsion. But since visibility is limited with these methods, control of the results can be quite difficult. Using whipped cream or egg whites to create a foam is a proven and controllable method. The minimalist water-only method likes to skip refrigeration. But really, for all methods, it is best to refrigerate for at least a few hours, preferably overnight for the very best results. Now, refrigerated chocolate mousse made with rich ingredients can, in principle, last refrigerated for several days. However, in practice, it usually consumed well before that point. The method shown at the bottom is to use an automatic, programmable kettle mixer to perform the entire operation unattended. With the smallest model's capacity being only 40 liters, it is ideal for the busy chef. Every modern home should have one. In many aspects of life, I appreciate the minimalist approach. However, the water-only method of making chocolate mousse is not one of them. Here are some enlarged views so that you can see the appearance clearly. One key aspect is that you really cannot see the bubbles of the foam. It looks more like slightly warmed chocolate ice cream, except that modern ice cream is foamed to twice the volume. It's called overrun. Since there's no additional ingredients to help the chocolate support the bubbles, they mostly collapse right after formation. It does not pour well into containers, and even collapses while in the refrigerator. It has too wet a surface, and very shortly, like in minutes after making, water starts to ooze out as it collapses. Now the taste is not bad. It is dark chocolate after all, but the mouthfeel is not right for real chocolate mousse. And the look is, well, awful. Some say it looks like animal fecal matter. Now for some final important details. When you're heating the chocolate, you should only use enough heat to make the chocolate liquid, not any more. Stir frequently to avoid hot spots. Remember, you're melting the chocolate, not cooking it. This is especially important when using double boilers. Note that any egg yolks and egg whites used in chocolate mousse still remain raw with all the consequences that entails. Even when exposed to the molten chocolate, the temperature it gets to is just not high enough to kill the bad stuff. Cream and other milk products come already pasteurized and extensively tested, thanks to the detailed, thorough, and constantly updated FDA PMO, Pasteurized Milk Ordinance. To minimize bubble loss during folding of the whipped cream or egg whites, two things are recommended. The emulsion should first be as cool as possible, but still in a liquid state. Sludge does not mix well with air. Second is that you should add the foam to the emulsion in parts. In the first part, most of the bubbles will be lost, but the emulsion will become less dense. Subsequent parts that are added will lose less and less of the bubbles, and the emulsion gets fluffier and into the chocolate mousse worth making. Well, now you're an expert on chocolate mousse. You can collect your certificate at the main office.